Hello, friends. I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping, and welcome to my craft corner. Tonight, I'm really excited to show you how to do a really quick and easy watercolor background, and then we're going to be using the stamp set Good Feelings to finish it off into a really simple card. So, really excited for tonight. If you are here and watching me live, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, and just give me a shout out. Let me know that you're here. So I appreciate that. And a special welcome to our replay warriors. So glad that you're here watching the replay. And if you're watching the replay, leave me a comment as well. Let me know that you are watching the replay tonight. So as I wait for everybody just to give everybody just a couple minutes to pop in before we get started. I'm trying to think what things I have coming up. So there are some class registrations still coming up for the Stamping Cross Country virtual adventure for the September card class. Tomorrow's the last day for the September card class. And then, of course, for the Christmas card extravaganza. So, hi, Nell and Letitia. Welcome. Watching from Australia and Texas. Awesome. The other thing is, don't forget, Stampin' Up! Is offering weekly specials. So every Thursday, they are coming out with a new set of products that are on sale. Last week, this week, it seems to be like 6 or so. I don't know. I haven't counted them, but it's like a handful of products that they have put on sale. So that's a really great deal, and it's going to change every Thursday in September. We're on week 2 this week. So that is happening too. All right. I'm going to go ahead and flip around my camera. If you are new to my channel, I hope that you will click that subscribe button so that you always know when I'm going live and you can come back and see me again. So hello, Jude. Welcome. All right. So let me see. Which one is it? Not that one. I don't know why I can't ever pick the correct one. All right. Here we go. This is the Good Feelings stamp set. And then I have out my water painters as well. Now the water painters come in 3 different sizes. This is the big one. I'll show them to you. Let me see. That's the medium one. And then this is the teeny tiny one. So they come in 3 different sizes. And what's really nice is they hold water inside them. So you can always just keep them at your desk ready to go. Great for just some quick, easy watercoloring. I'm going to use the big brush tonight. And I actually, because I want to use a lot of water, I did go ahead and just grab some water to use too. So I'm going to set aside the stamp set because we're not going to use that quite yet. I am starting with a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, and I am like out. This is my last piece. So I have more on order though, because I just love this stuff. So with watercolor backgrounds like this, it's always really important to use a good watercolor paper. And the Fluid 100 is nice because it is nice and thick and it has some texture, but it has a little bit less texture than some other watercolor papers, which means that when you go to stamp on it, it's a little bit easier. But I am going to show you a great way to stamp on the watercolor paper too. So the first thing that I like to do when I start doing watercolor, or that you should do, actually you should do this if you're doing watercolor. The first thing to know is that the ink is going to go wherever the surface is wet. So I'm going to start by just wetting down my surface. And this is why I'm using extra water tonight, because I want to get it nice and wet because I want those colors to run. All right. I don't want them to sit still. I want them to run around and play with each other. I am using, hi Sonia, I am using Parakeet Party, Bermuda Bay, and Pacific Point tonight. And what I like to do is I just grab some clear blocks. Now, if you have re-inkers, you can put a few drops of re-inkers on there. I just like to use the clear blocks. I just smush them into my ink pad and get a little bit of ink on my clear block. So we're going to get some Parakeet Party and some Bermuda Bay. That is my new favorite color combo, Parakeet Party and Bermuda Bay. Whew, so pretty together. And then I'm putting it with a little bit of Pacific Point as well. So just got my ink out there. Let's make sure this is good and wet. Give a little more water. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to start with the Parakeet Party. And I'm going to pick up some of this Parakeet Party. And I am just going to brush it on here. Now it's really wet, so it is going to be a lot lighter than normal. And that's okay. That's kind of what we're going for. So there's my Parakeet Party. I'm going to come in with the Bermuda Bay, and I'm just going to add that too. Now look how those colors start to run together. I love that. That's my favorite part, is that the colors will run and play together, right? Now, my last color, I'm going to come in with the Pacific Point down here at the bottom. So if you didn't want your colors to hang out together and have fun, you wouldn't want the water to be between. You would want to have dry paper when you between the colors, right? So, but I just want this to be super fun. I'm going to add even a little bit more water. I'm going to come in and grab some more Bermuda Bay. Just add. And then I'm going to tilt the paper, and you can see how it just runs, right? I love the way it's just going to run into each other and make these really fun, drippy shapes. They're almost like trees. Isn't that beautiful? All right. Now, one of the things that I like to do when I have my watercolor like that, I come in with some sea salt. I like a coarse sea salt because it's a little bit thicker. It's got bigger grains, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to sprinkle this with sea salt. Now, these cards are super simple, but they do take a little bit of time, just because at this point, you're going to take this piece of paper and you're going to set it aside and let it dry. Okay, you're just going to set that aside and let it dry. Now, luckily, this is recorded. So I have already prepared. Here's already my piece that I prepared with those same colors. You can see I have salt on here. And once it's dry, you're just going to come in. I'm going to do this on my paper. Normally I would do this straight into the trash. I'll just do this on this paper. You're just going to come in and brush that all off. Give that a good brush. Now there's salt all over my table, but so we're just getting all that salt off there. And you can see that that is what leaves those little dots, because what the salt does is it absorbs some of that liquid and pulls it off of the paper. So that's going to leave those little like white dots in there, which I think is fun. Just gives it a little bit more texture. And the fun thing with watercolor is you never know exactly what it's going to do, right? It's always a surprise. So now I want to stamp this and turn this into a card, right? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cut down my paper a little bit first, because I know this is a little bit bigger than what I want. Don't you love what that salt does? It's so amazing. So I actually want to cut this down to 4 3/4 by 3.5. So I'm going to take that side off a little bit, and we'll take this side off too. Just taking 1/8 off each side just to make it even when I do it. Take a little off the top and a little off the bottom. And there we go. There is our piece of paper. And I'm going to pull out my Stamparatus. So push some of this other stuff aside. I'm going to pull out my Stamparatus. Oh, there's salt. There's salt everywhere now. All right. Just cleaning up a little bit here, taking out my brush. So there's, of course, a hair in my Stamparatus. Now, the Stamparatus is a stamping platform. What I really love about the Stamparatus is there's actually 2 plates. I'm only using one tonight, but there's 2 of them, and they move, and you can put them like down further. So you can do step stamping, and you can put one up here. So you could actually like stamp one thing and then use another plate and stamp another thing. So if you're making multiples of stuff, it really does make it go super fast. So here is my paper. I'm going to go ahead and just put this in here. And then this comes with super strong magnets. You do not want to get these magnets near each other, because that's what happened over here, is they break if they get too close to each other. If you have a pacemaker, you do not want to use these magnets. You don't want them anywhere near you. They are super strong. All right, so I have the Good Feelings stamp set. I'm going to use the Just So Happy For You stamp. I'm just so happy for you because it makes me happy. So, and then I'm just going to put that where I want it, right there. And then I will close my Stamparatus door and pick that stamp up. All right, so now I have that stamp on there. And I'm going to grab my jet black Memento ink, or not jet black, tuxedo black Memento ink. And I'm going to ink this up. I'm trying to move this over a little bit. I'm going to ink up my stamp. Give it a good ink. And then I will close this door. It looks like my phone camera is being a little jumpy tonight. All right, and give that a good squish. Now you can see that it doesn't give you a really nice clear look. And this is why we're using the Stamparatus, because now I can come in, I can re-ink my stamp, and I can stamp this again. So we'll give that some good pressure. There we go. And I'm going to do it a third time at least. If you guys have questions while I'm doing this, feel free to, shout out any questions you have, because that's what I'm here for. That's one of the nice things about being live is if you have questions, I can answer them right away. All right. So let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good, huh? So now that gives that nice, vibrant, dark black look to it. Take off my magnets. Now this is because I stamped it so many times, it is a little bit wet. I'm just going to hit it with my heat tool just to dry it a little bit faster so I don't have to wait for it. Now I maybe could have stamped that another time. There's still some spots, but I think it's pretty good. So now I'm going to pull in some cardstock. I have a piece of basic black, and this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, I believe. Ooh, I don't want to put this. What am I doing? We want to put the adhesive over here on this cardstock. Oh, all right. So our sentiment panel is just going to go right on the front. Now, it is curled just a little bit because it was so wet. Yeah, the Stamparatus, I love it. It is so fabulous. So I'm just holding this down and getting those edges to go down. I don't use my Stamparatus like all the time when I'm stamping, but boy, when I want it, it is perfect. And look at that. I didn't get I don't know if you guys can see that. It doesn't show very much. But I think that my sentiment was still a little bit wet. So it smudged a little bit. So if you're doing this at home, you might want to wait. Just give that sentiment time to completely dry. Now I have a piece of Bermuda Bay, and the Bermuda Bay, I believe, is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to put my sentiment piece on here. We're just layering this up. I love layers. Layers are my jam. All right, and I want to find some dimensionals. I have a little sad sheet. It's almost done. We're going to use it up. So we'll just put some dimensionals on here. So have you guys done watercoloring before? Do you do watercoloring, or do you find it scary? I always wonder that. Hi, Karen. All right, so I have my parakeet party. I'm just going to go ahead and fold this in half on the score line to make my card base. Grab my bone folder and give it a good fold. Give it a good crease there. And then I'm going to grab my take your pick tool to easily pop those backs off. Just stab them and pick them up. If you try this, it did take me a little bit of time to figure out how to use my take your pick tool to pull those off. It was not immediate. Karen, you find it a little bit scary, and Jude, you love watercoloring. Yeah, it is a little bit scary. You know what? I can't actually paint. Like, I'm not gonna like paint scenery or objects. But as far as doing like backgrounds and stuff, I love watercolor. I love the way that it runs together and does really cool stuff. I just don't want to have to actually draw things. That's why I stamp. I do not draw. All right. So I have just some basic rhinestone jewels. And if I can get them open, We're just going to put a few on the front here. And I just take the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to have to put a new putty end on soon, I think. And I just push that down on my gems and then slide them just a little bit. And that way they just come right up and I can use them. I can put them down just like that. So there are my gems. They're hard to see on there, but in person, they're super pretty. It just gives it a little bit extra. And of course, I have extra cards to share with you, so don't go anywhere. You're looking forward to trying the coarse sea salt. Oh, I love the coarse salt on here. So much fun. Letitia, you find it a little bit scary? Well, hopefully this helps you to like go and try it. So, all right. So there is card number 1. Here is my second card, very similar. This one I used Fresh Freesia, Gorgeous Grape, and Coastal Cabana on it. Isn't that fun? So there's that one. And then this one, I stepped it up just a little bit. So I actually used Daffodil Delight, but it merged with the polished pink so much that it looks almost pale papaya now. But it was Daffodil Delight, polished pink, and Poppy Parade. And I did the watercolor background. And then I actually stamped a piece of basic white with the Rays of Sunlight stamp set in So Saffron, and layered that behind it. I just thought that gave it a nice sunny look. So, thanks, Karen. I'm glad you like it. So those are my 3 watercolor background cards tonight. I hope that you will try watercoloring. I hope that you have seen how easy this can be. That it really is nothing to get scared of. Definitely try it out and set it aside. Ooh, let's look at what I made tonight. Look at what it's doing already. Oh, it's making big bubbles. See, you never know what it's going to do. That's really cool. All right. So I hope that you will try this. Give it a try. Super fun. And yeah, I think that's it for tonight. If you like this video, and like I said earlier, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you always know when I'm going live. And I will see you guys again next week, Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday is mystery stamping, where we will be making a card. I'm going to give you the dimensions and things for the card on Monday afternoon. And then on Tuesday, during the mystery stamping event, what I do is I give you step-by-step directions, but I don't show you my final card. So, and I don't make it with you. So you are just following the directions. Everybody's card turns out differently, and they're all absolutely fabulous, which is what I love it, because it's so cool to see what different people do, how they interpret the instructions differently. So really excited. That'll be Tuesday night at 8 p.m. So I hope to see you all there. Have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see y'all next week.